Hello everybody and welcome to this Let's Play of Kuon, a game I've been super excited to Let's Play for you guys, even more so after the rumors started circulating that Shadows Die Twice would be a spiritual reimagining of this game. So, this game is set up like an old-time ghost story. It's what they call a kaidan, or kwaidan, depending on which romanticization system you're using. And kaidans became known throughout the globe due to the writings of one man, Lufasindayo Hearn, or his Japanese name is Koizumi Yakumo. And he wrote kaidan, stories and studies of strange things. And basically he wrote down like 10 or 15 different ghost stories, or kaidan. And kaidan are usually characterized by a moral, sort of like a fable, usually religious in nature. So I'm really glad to have you guys along with me for this ride. The first thing I want to talk about is this title screen, which is, I'm moving the cursor up and down because it'll bounce back to the opening FMV we just watched. But this opening title screen, and there's one of two of them, is made by the renowned painter Kyosuke Chinai. Age Tech misspelled his name. It's supposed to be with a T instead of a C. Chinai. And he is a fusion painter, and this is a painting. And he paints more like in this surreal style. And one of the characteristics of his paintings is he likes to put gold and platinum leaf on all of his paintings. So Kuon actually has two title screens by Kyosuke Chinai, and this is one of them. So let's begin. Kuon, like Evergrace, has two different protagonists. And like Evergrace, their scenarios interlink and intertwine in different surprising ways to create a narrative whole. I think this game does it much better than Evergrace does. So, Yin Phase, and from what I've kind of hacked together with the IME editor, this does say chapter of Yin, or chapter of Shadow, and this does say chapter of Yang, or Light. And once again, FromSoft proves how much they're into themes of duality, of light and dark, and living and the dead. Something that comes up a lot in the Dark Souls series. And again, this is part of the Age of Ancients, so it's more to look at past FromSoft games to see how those past FromSoft games are informing our modern FromSoft present. So, we're going to start as the Yin Phase with this character, who we will meet in just a minute. Here is the difficulty switchers, with cute little names of Insomnia, Nightmare, and Daydream. We're going to be playing on normal mode today. And because YouTube is YouTube, I'm going to bump the brightness up just a little bit. But darkness is part of the atmosphere in Kuon. Kuon is sort of a haunted house kind of thing, of which FromSoft isn't a stranger to. They do a lot of haunted house games. Most notably is Echo Knight Beyond, or Echo Knight Nebula, depending on which region you picked it up at. And that's a haunted house in space. We may play that in the future. Dear Utsuki, I have been summoned by the Lord who resides in the Manor. I shall be gone for a time. The Lord is acquiring my skills and my prayers and skills. He is convinced that the Manor is cursed. I believe he has an overly vivid imagination. Most likely, he saw a rat and mistook it for the creature of the other world. At least, that is what I think. I shouldn't be away for very long, but take care of the shrine in my absence. You must not forget to take care of the silkworms. Also, I am worried about Kureha's health. Please, watch over her.
This seal, the silk, how? Do you really think Father is here, in this place?
Yes, I'm sure of it. If we ask someone, I am sure we'll find out where he is.
Wait. There's something strange about this place.
Don't worry. Utsuki, come on, let's go.
Kuya! What happened? You need to be careful.
It's nothing serious. Don't worry about this. There is someone over there. Wait, I'll go see. Please stay here until I get back.
So right after the bat, we are introduced to Kureha and Utsuki, two sisters who came from the shrine within the complex that contains the manor. I think that's not really well explained, that the manor isn't just the manor, it is a complex or a compound. And Kureha and Utsuki, along with their father, live on the shrine within the property. Also, the dub isn't half bad. Outside of one or two voices, it's actually quite passable. However, the translation has a little bit of quibblings with, and I'll point them out as we come along them. Although I think they probably did the best they could. So right after the bat, we have control, and as we move up and down, left and right, we see a guy on the right-hand side of the screen running away from us. He's quite scared. And there's a body at the very bottom with a shiny. And when we pick this up, with our attention diverted, the guy will run away. We pick up dust, healing herbs, crushed into powder form. Again, FromSoft games in the Age of Agents series and in their back catalog, which is basically the same. Most of their healing items, if not all of them, are herbs. That is a trope that goes all the way back to Kingsfield, and is even in Demon's Souls. A little bit of a reference there. And if we take a look at the guy, he runs away. The corpse's clothing is soiled and emits a foul odor. So he runs away, and that's not disconcerting at all, because we just got here, right? And if you followed my Twitter LP of the first maybe half or 2/3 of this scenario, we're just gonna pick from the beginning so that everybody can catch up. But you'll know what's coming a little bit. You'll be a little bit privy to it. So I'm also not completely blind when it comes to this scenario. And thanks to LPers like Iconoclast or GG Gab, Tempest. Some areas have a large amount of negative energy. This includes revenge, murder, grudges. If too much has been accumulated, then a tempest of negativity may occur. If a tempest is encountered while running, you may experience vertigo. And before I was interrupted by the tempest, Iconoclast and GG Gab have a couple of really great LPs of this game that I highly suggest you take a look at if you haven't already. Now, tempests are one of those things that I think didn't have a really great translation, and they probably did the best they could. Like a film like Kuon, even though Kuon isn't categorized as a kaidan, negative energy has a habit of clinging to places of the earthly plane, and that psychic energy really takes a toll on individuals, and that's gamified here with the tempest. And what happens when you get hit with a lot of tempest is you don't have access to your spells, and the screen gets really, really crazy. But thankfully, we can meditate. Physical and mental energy are renewed, and vertigo is relieved through meditation. Meditation requires complete concentration, and summoned servants will be dismissed. Meditation is also basically a free heal, and so if you're playing this game for the first time, I recommend doing this out of combat, when you're basically completely safe. It's not that hard. But since we are at full health, and you can see that when I go into the menu, the blue bar at the top of the screen is your health, and like Resident Evil, it's basically just color-coded. Blue is full health, yellow is caution, and red is almost dead. Another thing I wanted to mention is that silkworms, which Utsuki's father mentions in his letter, are incredibly important to the narrative threads, pun intended, sorry, to this game. So we'll explain more of that as we get there. But first, we have to examine this pagoda.
Where did this come from?
So our sister Kureha, the voice actor mispronounces it. Kureha willfully leaves our side, and she knows she's leaving us, because obviously, which is weird because as the letter our father left us said, Kureha is very sick, and we did just see that, but she left. So I wonder why. Let's examine this pagoda. The stone pagoda has crumbled. Must circle around this and find sister. So there's our first goal. We're looking for our sister, now that we are separated. There's only one path to go, and we'll take that. The circle button is to run. R1 is to meditate. L1 is for the map. As we get into the tree and the garden, we see a body to the left. So let's examine him. He has a couple of shinies, so let's pick those up. First, he has a silkworm disc. Wooden disc decorated with a silkworm carving. Again, silkworms are incredibly important. And over here, he has a metal spike. Demon suppressing spike. The body itself has a big bloody pool under him. And that's kind of a hint that nothing is dead until there's a big bloody pool under them. It's kind of Resident Evil rules. Blood oozing from the wound has soaked the ground. On closer inspection, teeth marks are seen on its neck. Could a wild boar do this? Utsuki's still looking for logical explanations. So you see me getting my knife ready there, and we're gonna go over to this little shrine to our left, but above that we can see a monster gorging on a body that we just left. That is actually the body we started at. That's the body that had the herbs at it, and we see something gorging on that body now. There is something in the shrine. Do you want to get it? Well, of course, I mean, is there a button to push? Push it. Is there something to get inside of a tiny little shrine while there's something gorging on the body nearby? Yes. So within is a manor map of the manor, which is pretty straightforward. And also there's a scroll, Survival 1. Basic survival, do not run. Be as quiet as possible. If you make any noise, a gaki will detect your presence. And as soon as we take that, the head falls right off, attracting this gaki. So he's dead, and he did drop something, so trying to pick that up. There we go. So he dropped us some more healing herbs. Gaki will either drop herbs or vessels, and when we get one of those, we'll take a closer look at it. But he dropped us some more healing herbs, so that's nice of him. So how's that for FromSoft humor? You pick up the map and a scroll detailing some sound advice, and then it immediately breaks that advice and attracting the gaki. There's a bridge we can take, but first let's take a look at this here body. There's a trail of blood leading from the corpse. The body is cold. Surely it's dead. I mean, surely. So this is the tree, and if we take a look at the map, maps obtained throughout the game can be viewed here. Press up on the D-pad to display your character's location. So this is the mulberry tree. And again, with the silkworms, silkworms will eat mulberry leaves, young mulberry leaves. And normally, when people are farming silkworms, or really the silk from silkworms, they'll keep the mulberry tree really short to the ground so that they can just pluck off the leaves. This one has been allowed to grow. We will see pretty much the entire mansion, and more. As you just saw, there are different maps to find. So we'll be going throughout this entire manor. And you can see the silk draped through and around the mulberry branches, and this is a save point. This would be a good place to cleanse oneself. Saving data. After investigation of the lamp and rock located on the shore is complete, you may save your game data. A vessel is required in order to save game data. You might be wondering what that shore and lamp are, because it's not very well articulated what to do there. But since we can't save our game yet, let's take a look at some of these doors. So behind door number 1, the door is shut tight. Does not open from this side, apparently. And if we go over to this door, whatever it is you're selling, I don't want it. Someone is knocking on the door. Something strange is lurking behind the door. Consider a new route. So we can't go through that door. And just like in Resident Evil, the map does get filled in as you discover things. So now you can see the save point at the mulberry tree and the 2 blocked off doors. And since the other path is the way we came, let's take this bridge. Uh-oh. I mean, we did all see The Shining, right? So 2 little twins are standing at this here body. I wonder what it is. The corpse is drenched in blood. And there's nothing else. And if we go up this way, we'll find the spring that the load screen alluded to. The water glimmers and chases after the light. The light illuminates the muddy water, providing a different view. Well, there's nothing there, so let's follow the children. Running is a bit of a risk-reward thing. You kind of have to know the map to know that you're not going to attract a Gaki to run. So, into one of the many shrines within the place. We immediately see 2 different paths. And a song wafts on the breeze. So the song, according to the Kuon wiki, references a ritual for babies, the first taste of meat for a baby. It's called something different these days, and it references the first meal, the first solid meal for a child, which happens about 100 days after the child is born. But this one references specifically meat. And as we go up the stairs, drenched in blood, we find the children here.
They're all dead. Yes, they're all dead. Ayako is the last one living. But is she still really alive?
And they ask us a very interesting question. Something must have jumped into the pond. But it's too dark to tell. Was it the children? No, because they're running up the bridge. They're going up the other path. But first, Lady Fujiwara's memorandum. Note addressed to Lady Fujiwara. My lady, I have placed the remaining wooden discs in the manor's small shrine and in the altar. Don't worry about the 2 spikes. I have entrusted them to Miss Ayako and to the seer, who's here inspecting the manor. The 2 of us are going to hide in the garden. Please take care of yourself. And there's another reference to this Ayako person that the twins just referred to. And she's the last one living. So, we have our first real goal for progression. We need wooden discs and some spikes. We already have one, so we need 2 more. Also, we now know who owns the entire complex, and that is this family of Fujiwara. Back in the Heian time period where this takes place, the Fujiwara were political elite. And apparently, this family of the Fujiwara made money off of silk. If we follow the blood trail, we find another gaki banging on a door, but it's blocked by something very similar to what we broke to get into the place. We're gonna leave him alone. In the meantime, there is another path. We're gonna take that. This poor sap is having a bad day. Let's take a look. There's a knotted rope next to the corpse. The rope extends into the hole. Where could it lead? So this is part of FromSoft's habit of showing you something way in the beginning that you'll get to way later. It's part of their really good, really well done level design in this entire mansion, where you'll see something at almost pretty much the beginning of the game that you'll come to much later. Alright, nothing else to find there. When I first played this game, I thought that behind the trellis is another person, and I tried to mash X to like talk to him, but it turns out that that is a statue. So let's keep going into the garden. And the garden is a bamboo garden. A book just drops in on us. So let's go pick up that book. Uh-oh. Purple covered book emitting a foul odor. The residents of the manor are disappearing, and not one of them have returned alive. Sometimes their corpses are discovered, and they are always horrible to behold. Some of them were killed with bamboo spears, others discovered under the eaves, but were unrecognizable. Only bits of their flesh remained. I too may suffer that same fate. The corpse's face has been gouged out, is unrecognizable. It appears to have been pecked at. Birds? Are there birds in this too? So there's nowhere else to go there, but over here we find the remnants of a lot of the guard who came here to hide in the garden, impaled upon bamboo spears. Over here there's nothing. So that leaves one last pathway to go. Something drops in. Another body falling from the gosh knows where. And that is the source of the blood that has dripped down. Let's calm ourselves. So over this bridge, we find more blood leading to the small shrine of which it's named. We go up here, there's not a whole lot, but another camera angle showing us the gaki from behind. Busy trying to sell them stuff, I guess. If we come to this side, we see another camera angle showing us another save point, and we will ignore that for now. And something glimmering in the light. A card, slick with blood, is lying here. Spell card, Hibari. fiery arrows piercing an enemy. So that is our first spell card. And spell cards are really easy to equip, so we're going to do that now. Card and weapon selection. When triangle or square is equipped with a card, you can use it at any time by pressing that button. When a button not assigned to a card is pressed, a standard weapon attack is performed. And the warning is, if there are things equipped on both buttons, then you will not have like a melee attack. There's no melee attacks available if you like equip something to both buttons. So there's not like any one button just for melee. You have to choose one. So I will put square as my normal spells, and I'll leave triangle as my attack button. Speaking of that attack, she carries the Guardian Blade, ceremonial blade given to Utsuki by her father. Only in certain boss fights will I remove melee entirely and put 2 spells down. So let's take a look at the shrine. The shrine in the middle has an image of Buddha and a whole lot of spheres of influence all around it. Air is drifting out from the shrine. Could there be an open space inside it? It's suggested that it's basically a door. Up top there's some red silk that you can see. Several wooden discs have been removed. The holes could be covered if the wooden discs could be found. Operate the device? Now, we have one of those wooden discs at the moment. We will be finding the other 2 within the manor. But that is a confirmation of the goal that I suggested earlier. So we're done over here. And this is the shrine and lamp that the save point suggested we go to. It's not well articulated again. So, this is that shore. So let's go back. As we go back, we find something really odd. The body that we looked at here is now dragged off into the water. The trail ends at the water. So as we make our way back to the mulberry tree, we see another body has been dragged into the water all the way. He's gone now too. But
Are you all right? Oh, yes, I think so. Thank you. I am Utsuki. I live in the shrine, not far from here.
I'm Sakuya. What are you doing here?
I'm looking for my father. He's the elder priest of the shrine. My sister and I came from the mountain, but I lost her.
It's not safe to be alone here. I wish I could help you find your sister, but... Here, take this. It will help you.
Huh? Wait, it looks similar to the one Father uses.
Your father is the priest, correct?
Here, take this. My father gave this to me. You may find it useful.
Thank you. Please, be careful.
I will. And thank you. Take care.
So, we find the name of our second protagonist, and that is Sakuya. She is dressed as what they call an onmyoji, or an exorcist, but that's not even the best that's as best of a translation as you're going to get for that. It's also kind of translated in the game as an astrologer, but an onmyoji is kind of all of those things and more. She gives us more hibari, and she also gives us our first summon card, Sutegumo, because it's a FromSoft game, and so spiders need to be featured in a FromSoft game. Arachnid-type creature with slow movement. She also gives us Saiga, wolf that fiercely protects his master. 2 more cards that she's already used to help save us from a Gaki. And so here's the tutorial on how to equip that, but we've already done that. And now that that's done, we can save. Perform the cleansing ritual. So let's send our sin downriver. And again, very much like Bloodborne, rivers and water feature very heavily within Kuon. And like Bloodborne, where Kegare is prominent within some of the leading theories on its lore, you are literally removing your Kegare when you are saving within game Kuon. So let's do that. Let's send our sin down the river. And we can watch as it goes. And so that's going to be the end of this episode. And I hope you join me for the next one. I'll see you guys then.